the rejection and discovery. The midnight ceremony. The grand hall of Shadow Peak Kingdom glowed under 1,000 silver candles. Tonight was the midnight ceremony, the most sacred night of the year, when the moon goddess revealed fated mates to those who waited. I stood among the crowd, my heart beating like thunder in my chest. My name is Arya Moonstone, and I am a silver wolf Omega. My kind is rare, born only once in a generation. The elders always said silver wolves were blessed by the moon goddess herself, but standing in this magnificent hall, I felt anything but blessed. The ceremony began with the deep sound of ancient drums. Alpha King Demon Nightshade stood on the raised platform, looking every bit the powerful ruler he was born to be. His dark hair fell to his shoulders, and his green eyes seemed to glow in the candlelight. He was the strongest Alpha in 5 kingdoms, feared by enemies and loved by his people. The fated bond awakens. Then it happened. A golden light burst from the ceiling, showering down like rain made of starlight. The light touched me first, wrapping around my body like warm silk. I gasped as the most incredible scent filled my lungs. Midnight rain and ancient pine trees. My wolf howled inside me, crying out one word. Mate. The golden light shot from me straight to the king. It wrapped around him, and I saw his eyes go wide with shock. He could smell me too, moonflowers and winter snow. The entire hall fell silent. Every eye turned to look at me, the small Omega girl in a simple white dress. For one beautiful moment, King Demon's face softened. I saw hope there, maybe even joy. Our wolves were calling to each other, singing a song as old as time itself. The moon goddess had spoken. She had chosen me, a lowly Omega, to be the mate of the most powerful Alpha in the land. Impossible, someone whispered in the crowd. Then I saw her. Lady Seraphina Darkwater stepped forward from the shadows. She was beautiful in a cold, dangerous way. Her red dress matched her red lips, and her black hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall of midnight. She was an Alpha female from the northern mountains, powerful and ruthless. The cruel rejection. My king! Seraphina's voice rang out, sweet as poison honey. Surely the moon goddess has made an error. And Omega, as your queen, think of the kingdom. Think of your legacy. Demon's face changed. The warmth disappeared, replaced by a cold mask of duty. He looked at me, then at Seraphina, then at the hundreds of pack members watching and waiting. No, he said, his voice cutting through the hall like a blade. I, Demon Nightshade, Alpha King of Shadow Peak, reject this bond. The words hit me like physical blows. But he wasn't finished. I reject you, Arya Moonstone, he continued, his voice growing louder. The moon goddess has indeed made a mistake. I choose Lady Seraphina Darkwater as my queen. She is strong, powerful, and worthy of standing beside a king. You are just an Omega. You are nothing. The golden light that connected us shattered. The bond broke with a sound like breaking glass, and then came the pain. It was fire and ice together, burning through every part of my body. My wolf screamed inside me, a sound of pure agony. I fell to my knees, unable to breathe, unable to think. The crowd erupted in shocked whispers. Some looked at me with pity. Others laughed. I saw Lady Seraphina smile, a cruel, victorious smile that made my blood run cold. Banishment to the wasteland. Guards, Demon commanded, not even looking at me anymore. Take her to the forgotten wasteland. She is banished from Shadow Peak Kingdom. If she returns, she will be executed. 2 guards grabbed my arms and dragged me from the hall. Couldn't fight. The rejection pain was too strong. Every breath felt like swallowing broken glass. My wolf, once so bright and hopeful, curled up inside me, whimpering like a dying creature. They threw me into a prison cart and drove through the night. By morning, we reached the edge of the forgotten wasteland. It was a dead place, where nothing grew and no one survived. The ground was cracked and gray, and the air smelled of ash and despair. Good luck, Omega, one guard laughed as they pushed me out. You'll be dead in 3 days. They left me there with nothing but the clothes on my back. As I watched the cart disappear, I felt something wet on my face. I was crying, but I didn't remember when the tears had started. Survival and struggle. The first day was the hardest. The pain of rejection consumed me. I crawled across the dead earth, not knowing where I was going, just knowing I couldn't stop. If I stopped, I would die. And despite everything, despite the pain and humiliation, I wasn't ready to die. I found a small cave as the sun began to set. Inside, it was cold and damp, but at least it offered shelter from the wind. I curled up against the stone wall and let myself cry. I cried for the mate I would never have, for the life I had lost, for the future that had been stolen from me. But as the moon rose high in the sky, something changed inside me. The tears stopped. The pain was still there, burning in my chest like a wound that would never heal. But beneath it, I felt something else. Anger. How dare he? How dare the king reject the moon goddess's choice? How dare Lady Seraphina take what was meant to be mine? And how dare the entire kingdom laugh at me, mock me, throw me away like garbage? I will not die here, I whispered to the empty cave. I will survive. And one day, I will make them all regret what they did to me. The ancient temple discovery. 3 days passed. I survived by eating whatever I could find. Dried moss, insects, water from small puddles in the rocks. It was horrible, but it kept me alive. On the 4th day, while searching for water, I discovered something impossible. Hidden beneath a collapsed section of rock was a staircase. The stones were ancient, covered in symbols I had never seen before. They glowed with a faint silver light, barely visible in the harsh sunlight. My wolf, silent since the rejection, suddenly stirred. She pushed at my mind, urging me forward. Against all common sense, I climbed down the stairs. The stairs led deep underground, into a massive chamber carved from black stone. Silver torches burned with magical flames that gave off no heat. In the center of the chamber stood a temple, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Hello! My voice echoed strangely in the vast space. Come closer, child. The voice was old, tired, but still powerful. It came from inside the temple. I walked forward, my heart pounding. Inside the temple, lying on an altar, was the most ancient wolf I had ever seen. Her fur was pure white, almost transparent, and her eyes glowed like silver moons. Meeting the elder magistra. You are a silver wolf, the ancient one whispered. The first I have seen in 300 years. What is your name, child? Arya Moonstone, I answered, my voice shaking. Who are you? I am Magistra, the last guardian of the old ways. I have been waiting here, dying slowly, hoping that one day, one of the ancient bloodline would find me. She coughed, and I saw silver blood on her lips. It seems the moon goddess has answered my prayers at last. I don't understand, I said, kneeling beside her. What ancient bloodline? I'm just an Omega. I'm nothing special. Magistra laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. Nothing special? Child, you are everything special. Silver wolves are not born randomly. They are the direct descendants of the moon goddess herself. You carry her blood in your veins, her power in your soul. My head spun. This couldn't be true. If I had power, why hadn't it shown itself before? Why had the king been able to reject me so easily? Your power is sleeping, Magistra explained, as if reading my thoughts. It needs to be awakened, trained, and mastered. That is why I am here. I will teach you everything I know before I die. The training begins. Why would you help me? I asked suspiciously. What do you want in return? I want nothing but to pass on my knowledge before it dies with me, Magistra said. But I warn you, child, the path I offer is not easy. You will suffer. You will be tested. And you may die in the process. But if you succeed, you will become something the world has not seen in 1,000 years. You will become a true moon wolf, with power over the elements themselves. I thought of King Demon and his cruel rejection. I thought of Lady Seraphina's victorious smile. I thought of the guards who laughed as they threw me into the wasteland to die. Teach me? I said, my voice hard as stone. Teach me everything. Magistra smiled. Good. We begin now. But first tell me, child, do you feel anything strange in your body? Any changes since the rejection? I frowned, thinking. There had been something. A strange warmth in my belly. A feeling of fullness that had nothing to do with hunger. I feel different, I admitted. Heavier somehow. Tired all the time. Magistra's silver eyes widened. Oh, child, you don't know, do you? Your body is trying to tell you something very important. What? What is it? You are carrying the king's pup, Magistra said softly. The rejection did not break the bond quickly enough. In that one moment when the golden light connected you, before he spoke the words of rejection, the bond completed itself. You became pregnant with his heir. The world tilted sideways. I grabbed the altar to keep from falling. Pregnant? I was carrying Demon's child? The child of the man who had thrown me away like trash? The vow of revenge.
No, iwisparat.
No. This can't be happening. But it is, Magistra said gently. And now you must make a choice. You can leave this place, try to survive in the wasteland until the pup is born, and hope that somehow you both survive. Or you can stay, train with me, master your powers. And when you are strong enough, you can return to Shadow Peak and claim what is rightfully yours. I placed my hand on my stomach. There was a life growing inside me, an innocent life that had done nothing wrong. A child who deserved better than to be born in a wasteland and die of hunger or cold. But more than that, this child was proof. Proof that Demon and I had been true mates. Proof that the moon goddess had not made a mistake. Proof that I was more than just a worthless Omega. I'll stay, I said, my voice steady now. I'll train. I'll become strong. And when I'm ready, I'll return to Shadow Peak. But not just to claim what's mine. I'll return for revenge. Magistra nodded slowly. Very well. But know this, Arya Moonstone. Revenge is a dangerous path. It can consume you, destroy you, turn you into the very thing you hate. Promise me something. What? Promise me that when the time comes, you will choose wisely. Power without wisdom is tyranny. Revenge without justice is murder. You must be better than those who wronged you, or you will become worse. I thought about her words. Part of me wanted to reject them, to hold onto my anger and pain. But another part, a deeper part, knew she was right. I promise, I said. I will be better than them. I will be what a true queen should be. Then let us begin your training, Magistra said. We have much to do and little time. The pup will be born in 6 months. By then you must master the first 3 elements. Air, water, and earth. Fire will come later, for it requires a calm mind, and yours is too full of rage. The first lesson. Magistra taught me to sit in meditation, to quiet my racing thoughts and feel the energy flowing through the earth beneath me. It was harder than any physical training I had ever done. My mind kept returning to Demon's face, to his words of rejection, to the laughter of the crowd. Focus, child, Magistra commanded. Your emotions are natural, but they are also chains. If you cannot master your own mind, you will never master the elements. Day after day we practiced. Magistra would tell me stories of the old times, when silver wolves ruled as queens and protected the weak. She taught me that true power came not from strength or dominance, but from wisdom and compassion. An Omega's nature is to nurture, to protect, to heal, she explained. This is not weakness. This is the greatest strength of all. The problem with the modern packs is that they have forgotten this. They worship only physical power, forgetting that a kingdom cannot survive on strength alone. Slowly, very slowly, I began to understand. My Omega nature was not something to be ashamed of. It was my greatest gift. And combined with the ancient power in my blood, it would make me unstoppable. After 2 weeks of meditation, something finally clicked. I felt it. A pulse of energy running through the stone beneath me. It responded to my call, rising up like a living thing. Small pebbles around me began to float in the air. Yes, Magistra cried out. her voice filled with joy. You've done it. You've taken your first step into true power. I opened my eyes and saw the floating stones. I laughed, really laughed, for the first time since the rejection. I had done it. I had magic. But this was just the beginning. Magistra had months of training planned, and I would need every bit of it. Because I was going to return to Shadow Peak Kingdom. I was going to show them all what a true silver wolf could do. And King Demon Nightshade would learn the most painful lesson of his life. Never reject a gift from the moon goddess. The rise of power. 3 months of transformation. 3 months had passed since I began training with Magistra, and everything had changed. The weak, broken Omega who had crawled into the wasteland was gone. In her place stood someone new, someone powerful. My body had changed too. My pregnancy was now visible, a gentle curve beneath my training clothes. But instead of making me weaker, it seemed to fuel my power. Magistra said this was the way of silver wolves. Motherhood enhanced our connection to the moon goddess. Again, Magistra commanded from her place on the altar. She was weaker now, barely able to stand, but her voice still carried authority. I raised my hands and called to the water. A stream rose from the underground pool in the corner of the temple, twisting and turning through the air like a silver serpent. With a thought, I froze it into ice, then melted it again, then separated it into 1,000 tiny droplets that hung suspended in the air like stars. Beautiful, Magistra whispered. You have mastered water completely. Now, combine it with air. I focused, pulling at the air around me. Wind rushed through the temple chamber, catching the water droplets and spinning them into a magnificent spiral. The water and air danced together, creating patterns of breathtaking beauty. Excellent, Magistra said, and I heard the pride in her voice. You have learned in 3 months what takes most wolves 3 years. Your bloodline is strong, Arya. Stronger than I dared hope. The ancient knowledge transfer. But learning to control elements was only part of my training. Each night, Magistra would place her paw on my forehead and share her memories with me. I saw the world as it had been 1,000 years ago, when silver wolves ruled with wisdom and compassion. I learned forgotten magic, ancient fighting techniques, and the secret language of the old gods. I also learned about the artifact King Demon was searching for. It was called the Heart of Winter, a crystal of pure moonlight that could grant unlimited power to whoever wielded it. But there was a catch. Only someone with pure Omega blood from the original bloodline could touch it without being destroyed. That's why Serafina wants to find it, I realized aloud. She plans to use me somehow.
No, Magistra corrected gently.
She doesn't know about you specifically, but she knows the legends. She knows that somewhere, an Omega of the old blood must exist. She has been searching for years. But why does she need it? She's already powerful. Magistra's silver eyes grew dark. Because Serafina Darkwada is not who she claims to be. Show me your left hand, child. Confused, I held out my hand. Magistra breathed on it, and suddenly, glowing silver marks appeared on my palm. Marks that had been invisible before. These are the marks of the moon goddess, Magistra explained. Every true silver wolf bears them. Now, use your new sight and look at what I show you. She projected an image into the air, a memory of Lady Serafina at a royal gathering. Using the magical sight Magistra had taught me, I looked deeper, and what I saw made my blood run cold. Beneath Serafina's beautiful exterior was something dark and twisted. Black veins ran through her aura like poison, and her heart was not the heart of a wolf at all. It was something ancient and evil. The shocking truth about Serafina. She's a dark witch, I gasped. She's possessed by something. Worse, Magistra said. She is a dark witch. 300 years ago, there was a sorceress named Morgan who tried to steal the power of the moon goddess. The silver wolves of that time defeated her, but they couldn't kill her completely. Her spirit survived, jumping from body to body over the centuries. Serafina is her current host. Does King Demon know?
No.
Morgan is clever. She has hidden herself perfectly. She charmed the king's younger sister, Princess Elena, and holds her captive somewhere secret. She used Elena as leverage to force Demon to reject you and accept her instead. Everything clicked into place. The king hadn't wanted to reject me, he'd been forced to. But that didn't excuse what he'd done. He should have fought harder. He should have found another way. Once Morgan becomes queen, Magistra continued, she will have access to the kingdom's ancient vaults. That's where the map to the heart of winter is hidden. She'll find it, force you or another Omega to retrieve it for her, and then use its power to plunge the world into eternal darkness. Then I have to stop her, I said firmly. Yes, but you cannot do it alone. You need allies. Building the secret alliance. Magistra taught me a spell to create communication crystals. With these, I could reach out to others across vast distances. She gave me a list of names, wolves who had been rejected, cast out, or wronged by the current kingdom system. They call themselves the Forgotten, Magistra explained. Omegas, weaker betas, anyone deemed unworthy by the Alpha elite. They live in the shadows, but they are many, and they are loyal to each other. Over the next few weeks, I reached out to them one by one. I told them my story. I showed them my powers. I offered them hope, a chance to change the system that had rejected them. Slowly, they began to believe. An Omega named Luna, who had been cast out for refusing an arranged mating, became my first true ally. A Beta named Marcus, who had lost his family to corrupt laws, joined us. One by one, the Forgotten gathered. We need a name, Luna said during one of our secret meetings through the crystals. Something that shows we're not forgotten anymore. The Silver Dawn, I suggested. A new beginning, rising from darkness. They all agreed. The Silver Dawn was born, Magistra's final gift. But as my power grew, Magistra grew weaker. One night, I woke to find her barely breathing. I rushed to her side, my hands glowing with healing energy. Don't, she whispered. My time has come. I've lived far longer than I should have, waiting for you. Now my purpose is complete. No, I cried, tears streaming down my face. I still need you. There's so much I don't know. You know enough, and what you don't know, you'll learn. Magistra smiled. Come closer, child. I have one last gift to give you. She placed her paw on my forehead, and suddenly, everything she was poured into me. All her knowledge, all her power, all her memories from 300 years of life. It was overwhelming, like drinking from a waterfall. I screamed from the intensity of it, but I didn't pull away. When it was over, I collapsed to the ground, gasping. When I looked up, Magistra was glowing with pure silver light. She looked young again, strong and beautiful as she must have been centuries ago. Thank you, Arya Moonstone, she said, her voice echoing. Thank you for giving this old wolf purpose in her final days. Now go. Save the kingdom. Save your mate. And most importantly, save yourself. Don't let revenge consume you. Remember, wisdom and compassion are your greatest weapons. The light grew brighter and brighter until I had to close my eyes. When I opened them again, Magistra was gone. In her place was a silver feather that glowed with gentle light, a reminder of everything she had taught me, creating a new identity. I spent the next week absorbing all of Magistra's knowledge. I learned spells I never knew existed, fighting techniques from ancient wars, and secrets about the kingdom that would have shocked anyone who heard them. But most importantly, I learned how to change my appearance. With a simple spell, I could alter my face, my scent, even my aura. I practiced for days until I could maintain the disguise without even thinking about it. I looked at my reflection in the underground pool and didn't recognize the woman staring back at me. She had midnight black hair instead of silver, golden eyes instead of blue, and sharp features that made her look powerful and mysterious. She looked like an alpha, strong and confident. Hello, Silver Phantom, I said to my reflection. That would be my name in Shadow Peak. No one would know I was Arya Moonstone. Not yet. My pregnancy was now 4 months along, but I used magic to hide it completely. No one could know about the pup, It was my biggest secret and my greatest vulnerability. Return to Shadow Peak. The journey back to Shadow Peak took 3 days. I traveled by night, using my power over air to move faster than any horse. The Forgotten had prepared everything for my arrival. They had created a false background for me. A mysterious advisor from the Eastern Kingdoms, skilled in ancient magic and military strategy. Shadow Peak Kingdom looked the same, but I saw it with new eyes now. The beautiful towers and bustling streets hid suffering underneath. I saw Omegas being treated like servants, Betas being ignored, and Alphas abusing their power. How had I never noticed before? The palace rose before me, black stone towers reaching toward the sky. Somewhere in there was Demon, the man who had rejected me, the father of my unborn child. And somewhere in there was Morgan, wearing Seraphina's face, plotting to destroy everything. Are you sure about this? Luna's voice came through my communication crystal. I'm sure, I replied. It's time. The royal audience. Getting an audience with the king was surprisingly easy. I simply sent a message saying I had information about the Heart of Winter. Within an hour, I was summoned to the throne room. The throne room was exactly as I remembered it. Grand, imposing, and cold. King Demon sat on his black throne, looking tired. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his face seemed thinner than I remembered. Lady Seraphina stood beside him, her hand possessively on his shoulder. I walked forward, my head high, every inch the powerful advisor I pretended to be. I bowed, but only slightly, enough to show respect but not submission. Your Majesty, I said, my voice deeper and more confident than Aria's had ever been. I am Selene Shadowborn, advisor from the Eastern Kingdoms. I've heard you seek the Heart of Winter. I can help you find it. Demon's green eyes locked onto mine, and for a moment, I thought he recognized me. My heart hammered in my chest. But no, he just looked curious and slightly suspicious. How do you know about the Heart of Winter? He demanded. That knowledge is supposed to be secret. I make it my business to know secrets, Your Majesty, I replied smoothly. And I know that without someone of the old bloodline, the Heart of Winter cannot be retrieved. I also know that Lady Seraphina has been searching for such a person for quite some time. Seraphina's eyes narrowed dangerously. Careful, stranger. You speak of things you don't understand. Don't I? I met her gaze directly, and for just a second, I let her see a flash of my true power. Her eyes widened in shock. She knew. She knew what I was, even if she didn't know who I was. The dangerous game begins. I propose a deal, I continued, turning back to Demon. I will help you find the Heart of Winter. In return, I want a position as your royal advisor. I've heard your kingdom faces many challenges. I can help with those as well. We don't need help, Seraphina snapped. We have everything under control. Do you? I raised an eyebrow. From what I've heard, there have been increasing rogue attacks on your borders. Trade routes are being disrupted. Several noble houses are questioning your leadership. And your people, I paused dramatically. Your people are unhappy. Demon leaned forward. How do you know all this? As I said, Your Majesty, secrets are my specialty. I smiled, a smile that didn't reach my eyes. The question is, are you wise enough to accept help when it's offered? I saw something flash in Demon's eyes. Was it anger, or was it respect? He studied me for a long moment, and I forced myself to remain calm even though my heart was racing. Being this close to him again, even in disguise, was harder than I'd expected. His scent of midnight rain and pine filled my senses, making my wolf stir restlessly. Very well, Demon said finally. You have 1 month to prove your worth. If you can help resolve even one of our kingdom's problems, you may stay as an advisor. If not, you leave and never return. Agreed. Agreed, I said, bowing again. As I turned to leave, I felt Seraphina's eyes burning into my back. She suspected something. I would have to be very, very careful. The poisoning discovery. They gave me a room in the advisor's wing of the palace. It was luxurious but cold. much like the entire palace. That night, I used my magic to explore the castle without being seen. I needed to find Princess Elena and expose Morgantha's plan. But what I discovered was even worse than I'd expected. Using my enhanced senses, I detected a strange smell coming from the king's chambers. A bitter, toxic scent hidden beneath expensive perfumes. I slipped into his rooms like a shadow. On his bedside table was a crystal decanter of wine. I held my hand over it, letting my magic analyze the contents. My blood ran cold. Wolfsbane, silver extract, nightshade poison. Someone was poisoning the king slowly, in doses small enough that he wouldn't notice immediately. But over time, it would weaken him, make him sick, eventually kill him. And I knew exactly who was doing it. I pulled out a small vial from my pouch and collected a sample of the poison wine. This was evidence, but I couldn't reveal it yet. I needed more proof, and I needed to find Elena first. The unexpected connection. As I was leaving his chambers, I heard voices in the hallway. I quickly hid behind a tapestry, holding my breath. Demon walked in, alone. He moved like a man carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. He poured himself a glass of the poisoned wine, and I almost cried out to stop him. But I couldn't, not without revealing myself. He stood by the window looking out at the moon. "Arya," he whispered so softly I almost didn't hear it. "Wherever you are, I hope you're alive. I hope you've found peace." My heart clenched. He was thinking about me? I was a fool, he continued, talking to the empty room. I should have fought for you. I should have found another way. But I was scared. Scared for Elena. Scared for the kingdom. And now I'm paying the price. Every day without you feels like dying slowly. He took a long drink of the wine. I watched the poison enter his system, knowing it was taking tiny pieces of his life with each sip. "I'll find Elena," he promised the moon. "I'll free her from Seraphina's clutches. And then I'll find you, Arya. Even if it takes the rest of my life. I'll find you and beg for your forgiveness. Even though I don't deserve it." Tears streamed down my face. Part of me wanted to run to him, to reveal myself, to tell him I was here and I'd heard everything. But I couldn't. Not yet. Morgantha was too dangerous. And if she knew I was here, she might kill Elena out of spite. I waited until he left, then slipped out of the room like a ghost. Finding the secret ally. The next morning, I began my work as advisor. I sat in on council meetings, analyzed reports, and offered suggestions. Demon watched me carefully, clearly trying to figure out what my angle was. Seraphina watched me too, but with open hostility. She knew I was a threat. Good. Let her worry. During a break in meetings, a young servant girl approached me nervously. She was an Omega, barely 16, with kind eyes and trembling hands. "Lady Celine?" she whispered. "May I speak with you privately?" I followed her to an empty corridor. "What is it?" She pulled out a small silver pendant, the symbol of the Silver Dawn. My allies had already infiltrated the palace. "My name is Rose," she said quietly. "I'm one of the forgotten. Luna sent me to help you. I work in the kitchens, and I have information about Princess Elena." My heart leaped. "Tell me everything." "She's alive, but she's being held in the old North Tower. The one everyone thinks is abandoned. Seraphina has put magical barriers around it. Only she can enter." "Not for long," I said grimly. "Can you get me close to the tower tonight?" Rose nodded. "There's a servant's passage that leads near it. I'll show you." The race against time. That night, Rose led me through the twisting servants' passages of the palace. We reached a dead end near the North Tower. "This is as close as I can get you," Rose whispered. "The barrier starts just beyond this wall." I placed my hand on the stone and felt the dark magic pulsing on the other side. It was powerful, ancient, evil. But I was powerful too. I was a silver wolf with 300 years of Magistra's knowledge in my mind. I began to chant softly, weaving a counterspell. The barrier resisted, pushing back against my power. Sweat dripped down my face as I pushed harder. My unborn pup stirred inside me, and I felt a surge of protective energy. You will not win, I growled at the barrier. I am Arya Moonstone, daughter of the moon goddess, and I command you to break. Silver light exploded from my hands. The barrier shattered with a sound like breaking glass. An alarm went off somewhere in the palace. Morgan would know someone had breached her spell. Go, Rose urged. I'll cover for you. I burst through the wall and ran up the tower stairs. At the top, I found a heavy iron door. I blasted it open with a wave of power. Inside, chained to the wall, was a young woman who looked heartbreakingly like Demon.
Princesa Elena.
She was thin, weak, but alive. Who are you? She gasped. Someone who's going to save you, I said, rushing to break her chains. We need to move now. But as I shattered the last chain, I heard footsteps on the stairs. Many footsteps. And at the front, I felt Morgantha's dark presence. I had been discovered. The reckoning and redemption. The tower confrontation. The footsteps grew louder, echoing up the stone staircase like drums of doom. I positioned myself between Princess Elena and the door, my hands already glowing with silver light. Elena was weak, barely able to stand, but her eyes burned with the same fierce determination I'd seen in her brother. Stay behind me, I commanded, helping her to her feet. The door exploded inward, and Serafina strode through, followed by a dozen elite guards. But it wasn't Serafina's beautiful face I saw anymore. It was Morgantha's true form showing through. Her eyes were completely black, and dark energy crackled around her like lightning. Well, Morgan purred, her voice layered with centuries of malice. A silver wolf. I thought your kind was extinct. How delightful. She circled us like a predator, studying me with those terrible black eyes. You're young, powerful, and you've hidden yourself so cleverly. She leaned closer, sniffing the air. But there's something else. Something familiar about your scent underneath all that magic. My heart pounded. She couldn't discover who I really was. Not yet. It doesn't matter who I am, I said, keeping my voice steady. What matters is that your reign of terror ends tonight.